Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we sift through a whole stack of recent observations, headlines, notes, you name it.
Yeah, and we pull out the really important bits, the insights.
Exactly. Our mission today is simple: give you a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed. We'll uncover some surprising facts, hopefully make you think, and yeah, maybe add just enough humor to keep things interesting.
That's the idea. This isn't just about listing facts, it's about synthesizing, pulling together diverse information, spotting patterns, connecting dots between things that might seem totally separate.
Right.
We're not just asking what happened, but really digging into why it matters, the broader context, the implications. We want you to think critically along with us.
Okay, let's dive in then. First stop, global markets and geopolitics. It feels like a particularly tenuous balance right now.
Definitely.
We saw some really surprising news, didn't we? A big market recovery. And it seems directly tied to, well, optimism about potential peace in Ukraine.
Which, in turn, sent oil and gold prices falling quite sharply.
It's striking how fast markets react to these perceived shifts, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. What's really fascinating is how, investor sentiment can just, boom, bet on world peace arriving before lunch, as one source put it. It's almost ahead of the curve.
Ahead of the facts, maybe?
Kind of. We saw Asian markets rally hard, even before the U.S. inflation data came out, or before that big Trump-Putin summit everyone's talking about.
So it's speculation driving things.
Well, it really underscores how speculative anticipation often front-runs the actual geopolitical shifts. It's not always about concrete facts right now. It's about momentum, expectation, creating these incredibly volatile markets.
That volatility really shows how quickly global confidence can just swing back and forth. And it's not just financial markets. We're seeing similar kinds of tightrope walks in the tech and trade world, too.
Yeah, like that Nvidia and AMD deal. That's a really interesting one.
It is. They've agreed to share 15% of their AI chip sales to China with the U.S. government. That feels like a pretty novel setup.
It really is. This isn't just, simple revenue sharing. It's more like a new form of managed interdependence, perhaps.
Managed interdependence. How so?
Well, the economic gain for Nvidia and AMD is explicitly tied to national security oversight. It basically turns what could have been a purely restrictive policy into something more hybrid.
A hybrid model.
Yeah, combining economic activity with strategic control. The U.S. government gets a direct financial stake, in a way, in how these advanced AI chips are developing and being used within China. It's quite complex.
Very complex. And these kinds of economic and tech power plays, they inevitably spill over into diplomacy, right?
Absolutely. You see it playing out really intensely at the UN right now.
Especially around Palestinian statehood. Our sources indicate most UN members support recognition.
But Israel strongly opposes it. And that split is incredibly serious.
The potential ripple effects on stability seem huge.
Oh, massive. It just underscores these really deep, ongoing geopolitical tensions. It's a major fault line. And this lack of unified stance complicates pretty much any attempt at broader peace efforts in the region.
Which, speaking of peace efforts, kind of brings us to that high-profile summit.
The Trump-Putin meeting.
Exactly. Set for Alaska, apparently, with the stated goal of, well, solving the Ukraine war.
Which is a monumental task. This meeting, it's been rumored for a while, hasn't it?
It has, and just the fact that it's happening sends signals, doesn't it, about potential de-escalation, maybe.
The significance is immense, no doubt. And the diplomatic stakes, trying to resolve a conflict like Ukraine, they're incredibly high.
Yeah.
The real question, though, is how much concrete progress, actual de-escalation can come from these high-level focused summits. Especially with so many complex interests involved, history suggests it's rarely a quick fix.
No, probably not. And sadly, we have to shift now to the grim realities on the ground that persist despite any diplomatic moves. Our sources mentioned the tragic killing of 5 journalists in a tent strike in Gaza.
Yeah, and the global reaction reported was largely concern.
Concern.
It's such a stark contrast, isn't it? The sort of abstract language of international responses versus the immediate brutal human cost.
It makes you wonder what practical impact concern actually has in these situations.
Exactly. Especially when, around the same time, Netanyahu was warning of a swift Gaza offensive coming soon. It just highlights how the pace of conflict, it often just completely outstrips the speed of diplomacy or humanitarian aid.
If only we could build bridges that fast.
Wouldn't that be something? Infrastructure at the speed of conflict.
Right.
Right.
Okay, let's pivot a bit. We're seeing other kinds of global forces at play, two natural economic cultural shifts.
So,
First, a reminder of the planet's power. That 6.1 magnitude earthquake in Balıkesir, Turkey.
yeah, obviously devastating for those directly affected. And a reminder, too, of just how vulnerable we are globally to these natural disasters.
Mhm.
The Earth is always active.
Always active. Now, shifting to an economic and environmental change that's maybe gaining unexpected speed.
The EV surge.
Exactly. The surge in electric vehicle demand, specifically in developing countries. And it's apparently causing real concern among traditional oil producers.
Well, what's really striking is just how fast EVs are being adopted in emerging markets.
Yeah.
It's not just a Western thing anymore.
And the implications.
Oh, they're huge. It's not just about trimming global oil demand overall. It's about potentially shifting the entire global energy map, changing economic leverage.
So oil producers are worried.
Some are definitely rethinking their long-term economic plans, it seems. This shift might be reshaping whole industries and economies much faster than many people anticipated. It's quite profound.
Profound indeed. Okay, and finally, let's touch on something cultural that often grabs global attention and maybe, just maybe, reflects some of these undercurrents we've been discussing.
Okay.
K-pop giants, Stray Kids. They've announced a new album.
Ah, okay. And the title? Karma.
Huh.
You know, when you connect a cultural moment like that back to everything else we've talked about,
Yeah.
the title itself feels, well, kind of provocative, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a reflection, even subconsciously in pop culture, on the collective consequences
Consequences of what?
of all these things. Climate change, inflation, geopolitical tensions, conflict, the actions and inactions. It's almost like society, even through pop music, is grappling with this idea that, what goes around comes around.
Especially in a world that feels so interconnected and frankly pretty challenging right now.
Exactly. That feeling of interconnectedness and consequence.
Well, that brings us to the end of this particular deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From shaky market trends to complex geopolitics, natural disasters, tech shifts, even K-pop.
Quite the mix.
What we hope you, the listener, can see is how all these different threads, they really are interconnected. They weave together to form this rich tapestry of understanding if you look closely enough.
Indeed. And maybe that leaves us with a final thought. Considering all these threads we've pulled on the economy, conflict, innovation, culture, how might our collective karma, so to speak, actually play out in the coming years? And maybe more importantly, what role do you see for yourself in, not just understanding these intertwined global forces, but maybe responding to them too?
Something to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We look forward to exploring more fascinating sources with you next time.